Today I wanted to cover a pretty in-depth topic, which is remixing. We're going to go into some of the details of how to remix, how to get started, how to do sound design. We're going to cover a lot here, so I will have chapters down below so you guys can jump to the sections that you want to jump to and work at your own pace. As a disclaimer, I will be using plugins in this video. However, there are going to be Ableton counterparts for those plugins, and anytime I do use a plugin, I'll have text on the screen letting you guys know what the Ableton counterpart would be for that plugin. If you guys would leave a like and subscribe, it's greatly appreciated, but other than that, let's jump in and cover remixing. The first thing you're going to need to get started on the remix is an acapella. This is just the vocal part of the song, and generally you can find these by going on YouTube and just typing in the name of a song and then studio acapella at the end. And the way that I extract these from YouTube is I just use YouTube to MP3, and that's exactly what I did here with our song that we're going to be remixing today, Heatwaves by Glass Animals. The next step that I always do is I find the key of the song as well as the BPM. This is super easy to do just by doing a simple Google search. So that's exactly what I did here. The song is 81 beats per minute, which I'm going to double to double time at 162, and the key is B major. So we'll go ahead and do that in Ableton here. Come up to the tempo, type in 162, hit enter. Now when I play this with the metronome on, it should be in time. And even if I skip to the end of the song, it should still be in time. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the... Now that we have that, what I can do is I can come in here, turn on warp, and I'm going to click and put a warp marker at the very end of the song. What this is going to allow me to do is change the BPM if I want to, or change the pitch of the song. So if I wanted to change it to a different key, I could come in here. In the middle of June, Heatwaves been faking me out. And now we don't have to worry about it changing our BPM or anything like that. I'm going to take this song down 2 semitones, so it's in A major, and then I'm also going to turn on Complex Pro so the vocals sound a little bit more natural after being pitched. Chord structure can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be. I have this section I'm going to be working in here, which is just the main hook of the song, and I'm just going to pull up a 9-bar loop. We'll go ahead and just work through some chord ideas here. I'm going to turn on scale mode, and like I said, we're in A major, and basically I'm going to be mainly using a lot of major sevenths because the type of song that I'm making here is like that EDM, future bass, whatever you want to call it. It's just like that dance music remix style. A lot of times in this style, you're going to be using major sevenths. So what I'll do is I'll find my bass notes first. We'll kind of just lay out a bass line here. So this is what I've selected for my root notes, and this is what we're going to build the chords off of. Let me show you what it sounds like. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heatwaves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. So basically I move these notes up a few octaves, and we'll go ahead and build off some chords. All we're going to do is skip a note twice, and we're going to just build off all of our chords this way and just see how it sounds. I imagine we're going to have to spice it up a little bit, but we'll keep it as simple as possible. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heatwaves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. So not bad. We have a start. I'm going to try adding the major seventh in and just see where it fits. And then we'll take it out where it doesn't fit. If it doesn't fit, it's just not working. And then I'll kind of show you how to maybe make these chords a little bit more interesting. This is a pretty like poppy, like EDM type song though, so I don't want to do anything too complex. We're going to keep it pretty simple for this one. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heatwaves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. So a few of those chords there just sounded weird. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late night. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heatwaves been fixed up those chords, and this is what the progression sounds like now. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June.
faking me out. Can't make you happier now.
For this song, I'm going to think of sound design in 3 different layers. We got our chords, our bass, and our drums. We're just going to keep it kind of simple for this, and I'll show you how that's done. So we're going to start off just by using a synth. We're going to convert that piano into a synth. I'm going to be using Serum for this, and we're just going to use a sawtooth. This is going to be a really simple sound. We're actually going to use effects to make sound more interesting. But essentially, if I just play this, doesn't sound too great. So all I'm going to do is turn up the unison to about 5 and then turn down the spread a little bit here. And then I'm going to take the filter, turn that on, lift it up, hear how that sounds. And then from there, all I'm going to do is add some noise. We're going to use this Juno 106 noise. And I think that sounds pretty good for a start. So from there, I'm going to go ahead and add a few effects on. We'll put a chorus on. I'm going to use the chorus ensemble. Next, my favorite effect, auto pan. Let's turn up the amount a little bit so we can kind of hear what we're doing. We'll set the rate to 1/8 notes, set the phase to 0, and set the offset to 180. And let's just hear how this sounds. So it's sounding pretty good. I'm going to take the unison down a little bit on this, take the detune back as well, and let's hear how that sounds. I also want to change that one chord. I thought that note being an octave up was going to sound good as that second pass, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it down an octave. I didn't like how that sounded. Let's go ahead and add in some reverb just to make this sound bigger. I like how that's sounding. So let's go ahead and just move on to the bass. We'll go ahead and take another instance of Serum. And all I'm going to do for this is we already have our bass notes from the chords, so I can just delete all these chords up top. And now we have our bass notes. And if I come in here, I'm going to make like a pretty standard bass sound. We're going to turn the unison up to 7. Turn the detune back, but not too far this time. And we're definitely going to want to turn the filter on. And then I'm also going to have a second oscillator turned on. This time the octave is going to be a pitch down on that one. And then we'll turn on the sub oscillator as well. I think we'll use a square wave for that. So let's hear how that sounds. Now, the thing is right now these aren't hitting the filter, so I'll turn the B and the sub to hit the filter. Now, I think if these have the same auto pan on them, it's going to sound pretty nice here. I dragged the effect back on the bass with this amount knob. Now, overall, I think these synths are too loud. I'm going to group them because I like how they're sitting together, and then I'm going to bring the volume down. We'll name this group Synths just to keep things simple, and close it for now just to keep it out of the way. For this, I'm thinking some trap drums might actually work out really well, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick out some trap drums, and I think I'm going to add an 808 to this as well. So let me just pick out some sounds real quick here. Just gonna lay out an eighth note pattern for the hi-hats and just a simple clap pattern. And I'm not gonna lay out the kick until I do my 808 because I want to get the groove from the 808, and then we'll just kind of match that. So this should be a pretty simple drum pattern here, so we can kind of get an idea. I need a little bit more power from that clap, so we'll boost it. So I decided to add an 808 to layer with the bass. So all I'm doing is just taking the bass notes. I'm going to pitch them a few octaves up because it's just not going to work all the way down there with the sample I'm using. I'm going to mute the vocals while I'm working on this part, and we'll just go ahead and lay it out. So now I'll lay out my kick pattern just following that 808 directly. And then to finish things out with the sound design phase, I actually want to take the auto pan and the reverb from the synths and put them on the vocals, just to get a little bit of a cool effect. I might not use this much amount, but let's go ahead and listen to that. To finish things out, I'm actually going to take the 808 out of this group because I want to use some group processing here that the 808 is not going to be affected by, and that's sidechain compression. So we're going to take our compressor, make sure sidechain's turned on, and pick the kick. We'll bring the threshold down, and what this is going to do is every time the kick hits, it's going to knock the synths down. So let's hear how that sounds. All right, so the remix is coming together. Let's go ahead and start mixing a little bit. I think the thing that this is the most in need of is some EQing, so we'll tackle that first. I want to EQ the vocals first, and actually, I did notice that this reverb was too much, so I'm going to bring it down. It was just too much. And then let's go ahead and start by just EQing some of the low mids and the lows out of the song here. So something along the lines of like 200 hertz for the low mids and about 80 hertz for the lows, something like that. Let's just use that as a baseline and kind of play it and listen to how it sounds. Okay, move on for now. We'll go to the synths. Synths can really get like a lot built up in like the 200 to 300 range sometimes. It might be a good idea to just kind of mess with that range. And then I'm going to be low cutting this pretty high up because we have a bass that's kind of taking that range up, and I don't want them to step on each other. So that's kind of why I'm doing that. And then I want to boost the highs up, so we got that like sheen at the top end there. And then I'm going to cut like 2K-ish for the vocals to shine through. Okay, we'll move on to the bass now. For the bass, I'm going to do a shelf EQ just because we have our 808 and I don't want it to be too crowded down there. And then I'm also just going to high cut. It's just something simple like that. And then we'll take our 808. Just make sure it's not too crowded up here. Gonna cut a little bit here because that's where our kick is hitting. So I'm gonna cut a little bit there, and then we'll kind of do the opposite EQ on the kick. Boost it here around 40 to 50, and then cut it around 200. And I'm actually gonna cut some of that top end out too. It's hitting pretty hard there. And yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and just level things now. So we'll go over to the mixer and just kind of, we're just doing this all by ear. Something I want to say is this is probably going to be the hardest part for most people, is nailing the mix. And there is no secret. There is no secret to it except for just practice. If you practice mixing, just like anything else, you will get better. You mess around with the EQs, you mess around with the compressors, and you learn from practice. And yes, someone, teaching you how to use it obviously does help, but there's nothing that is going to help you learn more than just getting into it. So this is a great start. Just dive right into this mix. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look here at this mixer. I'm gonna add some of that reverb back because I feel like it's just missing from the vocals now. I feel like this section is sitting well, and then the drums are kind of coming in and kind of messing things up a little bit. So I'm going to put some focus into the drums now. I really want to distort this 808. I think it's just a little too soft for me, and I think that'll help it sit better in the mix. So let's go ahead and do that. Soft clipper on the saturator. Let's turn the drive up until it sits right. I think that saturator made the world of a difference for the mix, and I'm a lot more happy and comfortable where it's sitting. This would definitely not be my last pass, and in fact, I would add a lot more layers to the whole thing, but I am a lot more happy with where this is sitting. As far as the master goes, this is where we're going to get some of our loudness. I have the glue compressor here that I'm using for saturation. It's a soft clipper, and we'll turn up the makeup gain to kind of dial that in. So let me go ahead and play the song. Okay, I think that's sitting pretty good. And then after that, we'll go ahead and add an EQ on to clean up any last little things. We'll keep that simple. And then last thing is the limiter. So this is where we can really push things and try and make this loud, but your mix is ultimately the most important part for loudness. So if you're not getting the loudness that you want, don't just push the limiter further. What you need to do is you need to go back to your mix, maybe saturate things, maybe just make things sit better, maybe EQ better, and you can get a lot more out of your master just by mixing better. So let's go ahead and dial this up. We'll see where we're sitting for as far as our LUFS sits. I typically like to be around the -9 to -7 range for this type of music. We'll see if we can get that with where we're at. All right, it looks like we're sitting right with the mix and the master. Now, to me, this isn't the end product. This isn't what I would release. This is a start. I'd probably add more layers to the synths. I'd probably make that 808 sit even better, but I am happy with how this is sitting for a start. Are the vocals a little too far back in the mix? Probably, and I probably will push them further. But as a start, I'm not going to be a perfectionist. I'm going to get some ideas flowing onto the computer, and I'm happy with this. All right, to the people who made it to the end of this video, I want to say thank you for watching the whole thing, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope you can use these tips and get making your own remixes. That's the end goal of this. I know that some of you guys have been asking me about this, asking me things that are in this video. You've been asking me those questions, and I hope you guys learned it. Like, I hope you guys can just get started making remixes as soon as possible. If you're new here and you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you liked the video, leave a like. And if you have any questions at all about anything in this video, go ahead and leave those in the comments down below. Other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.
Sometimes all I think about is you. Playing nights and I'll never want you. Heatwaves been faking me out.